Hey guys, so for today's video, ignore please the hiccuping human in the background. I was asked to do my labor and delivery story, which unfortunately I don't really have one. That is because I never actually went into labor and I didn't deliver normally. It's more of a cesarean and recovery story as opposed to a labor and delivery story. So if you guys have been around my channel for since 2012, you would know that the summer of 2012 I had a brain hemorrhage. So the technical term for it is AVM, but basically it's just blood vessels in your brain that grow perpendicular to each other, so they cross instead of parallel to each other, and then they rub because they like formed improperly, and then over time they burst. So that's what happened to me. So because of that, I'm not supposed to put a lot of pressure on my brain, and there's all this stuff that, like, I've had surgeries to correct it, but they don't see results for 4 years. So that being said, this wasn't 4 years ago that this happened, so having a baby was not really supposed to happen within that 4-year time frame, but obviously it did. And she is fantastic, but because of that I couldn't have a natural birth. Well, I could have, but I mean, then it's on me. Like, if you choose to, just know your risks are higher for this and this, or you can have a cesarean and, you know, there's other risks involved like there would be with a major surgery, but not that your brain's gonna explode again. So obviously I went that route because I'd rather, if there was gonna be complications, it be, you know, something with the incision or like an infection. I'd rather not have the possibility of my brain exploding again. So I was scheduled for my cesarean on October 22nd of this past year, 2015 obviously. So I went in at 6 in the morning, I think I had to be there, so I probably got there at like 5:30 because I'm usually early for everything. I went with Michael, obviously, and my mom. My mom drove us because we don't have a car, and she wanted, you know, to be there as much as she could for her daughter who's having a baby and, you know, has this prior history of things going wrong. And then I obviously wanted Michael there because he's the dad and he wanted to be there, yada yada. We went in to the hospital. I delivered, by the way, at St. Michael's, which my neurosurgeon recommended because that's where he is. And he was like, I realize that, you know, you're going to an OB who delivers at a different hospital, but if something goes wrong, I want you to be here where I am. So I did have to switch my birthplace hospital, which is fine. St. Mike's is super well known, you know, for their medical care. Obviously my neurosurgeon's there, however it is a teaching hospital, so even in like the cesarean theater was what they call it, there was students watching, which is so weird, but whatever. I went in at 6. I got my blood work done. They gave me an IV, which IVs never work for me. If you have, like, if you watch those medical videos that I made from before when I had my original brain hemorrhage, you know that I had a whole bunch of issues with IVs. So it was the same thing. They tried 3 times before they called someone from the IV team who like had to come and do it, and they put it in this weird ass place because it just wouldn't go in right. Anyways, then I went back to the waiting room. I could have stayed and waited in like where in the room they gave me the IV in, but my mom was in the waiting room because this other room could only have 1 person in it, so Michael was there with me. But I wanted, you know, if I was going to sit there for another hour, to at least be with my mom so she wasn't worried. So we went back out to the waiting room, sat there for a bit. Then the doctor came in. He was like, hey, you know, is everything good? We're just prepping the room. You'll be in soon. So they called me in. I went in. Like I said, only 1 other person was allowed in the theater with me, so that was Michael. By the way, they call the operating room a theater for a cesarean. I don't know why. So Michael and I went in. Well, Michael and I went to where the room is. There was another waiting room that we waited in. They brought me in. They told me, you know, kind of what was going to happen, about the spinal that they were going to give me, about how it would feel. And then they were like, as soon as you're frozen and everything's good to go, then Michael can come in. So they took me into the room and they gave me the spinal. So I was numb from my boobs down. I couldn't feel anything, but I definitely was awake. I know that a lot of people say that when they're, you know, like during a cesarean, they like don't really remember what's happening because they're on like all these meds. I don't know if it's just me, my body not reacting like that, or because they're familiar to me because I've been on them before, like morphine and stuff. But I could remember everything perfectly fine, so I don't know. So I had my spinal. They froze me, like I said, from my boobs down. They prepped me, they got me all laid down and everything. They put the curtain up, and then they called Michael in. So Michael came in. He was sitting on my side of the curtain, obviously, with me, and they were doing what they were doing. Like halfway through, he was like, okay, Michael, we're about to pull the baby out. If you want, you can stand up and take pictures. So he stood up and took a bunch of pictures of her, like, actually coming out of my stomach, and then, or my uterus, whatever. So those, I think, are really cool. I got them all printed. They were like her very first photos, which is amazing. I'm so happy that I have those. So they weighed her. She came out at 7 pounds and 6 ounces. She was 53 centimeters long, which is about 20 inches. They went to like wrap her up. Well, I had been telling Michael how like skin to skin contact is so important, and I was really jealous of like people who are having natural births, because as soon as the baby's born, they get to go on the mother's chest, and skin to skin is really important because it regulates their body temperature and can regulate their heartbeat and calm them down, and there's all these benefits to it, aside of the fact that obviously they can eat right away. And the sooner you get them on the boob, the better it is for breastfeeding. Michael actually, he was in scrubs because they'd given him scrubs. He like went over where they were wrapping her up and we're like, don't wrap her up, just give it to me. And the nurses kind of looked at him like, okay. And he just like ripped open his shirt like he's the Hulk or something and put her on her chest, on his chest, which was amazing. So he was actually physically, like, she was inside of the rest of his shirt for the last, you know, half an hour while they sewed me up, or however long it was. So anyways, backtracking a bit, when they took her out, we still didn't know if it was going to be a boy or a girl, and so I think the doctor thought that we knew, so he was like, oh, she's so pretty or whatever, and then I was like, she, and I wasn't saying it loud enough for the surgeon to hear me, but the anesthesiologist, who was sitting right next to my head on the other side of Michael, or like, here was me, here was Michael, here was the anesthesiologist, he's like, what gender is it? And so the doctor's like, it's a girl. It was pretty funny. So then obviously I was like, oh my god, I had a girl. I'm so happy. Like, I wanted a girl so bad. I knew Michael really wanted a boy, and part of me wanted a boy for him, but I was beyond ecstatic that she was a girl. Yeah, so then they like cleaned her up. Michael pulled the Hulk and ripped his shirt open, held her on his chest. So he was holding her, and I took his camera from him and I snapped some pictures of him holding her. Those I'll insert because those aren't so weird. I feel weird showing you like my blood covered baby still attached by umbilical cord. But anyways, these ones are okay. I'll insert them. So I took some pictures laying down on the table of her and Michael, which just was the best feeling ever. Seeing her, because when they take her out, they like brought her around the curtain so I could see her. That was like so amazing. I honestly, to this day, I'm still in shock that like there was an entire human being inside of me. Like, that blows my mind. But yeah, she's perfectly healthy. I didn't have any complications. They sewed me up. They took me out into the post-surgery, I guess, recovery room, where you are for about an hour before until the morphine basically wears off and the freezing wears off, and then they move you to your room. So I had a double room, like me and one other person, because that's all my insurance covered. It didn't cover a single, and I wasn't about to pay for a single because that's just crazy. So yeah. in the recovery room, you're only still supposed to have that one person who is in the operating room with you. So the nurse was there was a student there, and Michael was there. The student's like, oh, let me take a picture of you with your ripped open shirt for posterity. So she took our first family photo, which I'll also include, which is really funny. Michael's the only one who's looking at the camera, and he looks terrified, like, oh my god, I have a whole person that I have to take care of now. Then Michael, he's like, I'm going to the bathroom, which is right beside the waiting room. So while we were in the delivery room, actually, hold on, let me backtrack again. He texted my mom and said it's a girl. He texted his parents and said it was a girl. And then, so my mom's like freaking out, excited in the waiting room. So when he went to the bathroom, he walked past her and was like, oh, come with me. And so she just like came with all our stuff or whatever and came into that room that's only supposed to be for the one person who's in the theater with you, as well as the nurses and stuff. And so the nurse is like, there can only be one person in here. And my mom's like, well, she's my daughter. So she wasn't about to leave. And so the nurse was, I guess, just kind of like, okay, whatever. So she left my mom there. So we took a bunch of pictures together, which I thought was really cool. Obviously, like, it's good to have a photo with your mom and your baby. And then they transferred me to my room, which I've always had the window room in a hospital. I don't know why. I just, luck of the draw, I guess I've just always had that room. So this time I didn't. I had the first room, which sucked because I felt like I was so enclosed and I didn't have like natural lighting and stuff. But at the same time, I had so many people coming to meet Avery that it totally was way better. Otherwise, whoever was in that spot would have felt really bad with all the people walking past them. So, yeah. Within 5 hours, I was up and walking. So they told me I'd feel some vertigo. I was like, listen, I've been hospitalized where I've been laying down for like solid 12 days before. Don't even worry. A couple hours is nothing. So I just stood up like it was no big deal. Was walking around. She just told me not to exhaust myself. Also, I wasn't supposed to carry anything heavier than Avery for the first 6 weeks. So that meant when I was at home, no dishes, no chores, no lifting anything up. Even her in her car seat. If she was in her car seat, I had to get somebody else to carry her for me. I couldn't carry her. I think that was the most difficult part, was not being able to do anything, because I really wanted to, like, I couldn't even carry her and her diaper bag because that obviously weighed more than her. If I had her in my arms, I couldn't carry anything else. So that was I think the most difficult part, but it healed up fine. I didn't have an infection. I guess it was like the perfect, like, it went perfectly, as good as it could be. I was up and moving so quick. I didn't have any pain. The incision healed perfectly fine. My 6-week appointment, my OB was actually like impressed at how well everything had healed and how quickly it had healed, and at the progress that it had made, like what stage of healing it was at. So that's good. And now I have a beautiful Avery to show for it, even though it wasn't really all that difficult. So that is all for my labor and delivery / cesarean and recovery story. I hope that you guys have a great day. Leave in the comments below what your birthing stories were like, if you have any, or, you know, tell me, like, hop on my channel and I'll go to your channel and watch yours. I've been really into like the mommy videos recently, and I've been like really obsessed with watching all of them, and some of them I definitely have some tips where I think that I would help the mothering community by sharing them. So I'm probably going to do that. So there might be like a little mini series on this channel. So yeah, I just wanted to say have a good day, guys. I hope that you liked my kind of story. I don't know if it was interesting, but hopefully it was helpful, or will be helpful to someone, or reassuring to someone. And I will see you guys later.